Hello everybody. So in the previous videos we looked at lists and we looked at sets. Now we look at maps. So maps allow you to they have two attributes. The map has a key and a value. So basically the key is unique and the key is used, like a dictionary. The key is unique. You provide the key to the map and the map will tell you, it will respond back with the value. So for example, it could be like if you look at the phone book, for example, in the telephone book, the key is the name of the person, the value is the phone number. So basically the name of the person is the part that is unique, assuming it is unique, and then the value is the person. Okay. So basically to create a map is very easy. You say hash map, and you could see here that the parameterization is two variables, two types. The first type is the type of the key and the second type is the type of the value. So let's say, for example, I'm going to create a key. Let's say I would like to be able to locate the user very quickly. Let's say the key is a string, right? And then the value is a user, for example, right? A user, right? And then let's say we call it, for example, my user's hash map, right? User's hash map, user's map, for example, I could call it like that, equal new hash map. All right, so then I have created my map. So now what I could do is I could specify an ID for each user, for example, right? Let's say we go back and change this constructor for the user and add an ID. Let's make the ID a string, for example, an ID. So the user has an ID now. Let's remove all this equal stuff. We don't need it. We used it for the set. And for example, let's add an integer ID. And then we're going to say that this.id equals ID. So basically I just added an ID for the and it's not integer, sorry, it's a string, right? So here is the ID of the user. Okay, now, and I'm gonna add some IDs to them, so that just because it's not happy, I'm gonna add some IDs. Here's an ID, here's an ID, here's an ID. We'll get these users later, but anyhow, so I want to add these users in the hash set. So basically to add them to the hash map, to do that I just say user dot put. And then when you put something in the hash map, you provide a key and the value. So let's say, for example, a key, let's say 11111. That's the ID of that user. And then I'll say new user. And I'll just copy this one. So that's already here. I'll just copy Bob. Here it is. And then that's, let's say, is, here it is. Open bracket. And let's say it's ID. I'll also make it the same ID. So that's okay. So basically, that's one. Okay, so I created one for Bob, and similarly I'll create some other users, right? Right, and let's say I'll create some other ones and create these. I don't need all of this, but I'll show you how to iterate over a map and all of that. Let's say we do make this person Alice Smith, and let's say I add another person Tom, for example, and let's say we add Eve. Okay. And it doesn't matter the age and so on, right? So let's say if I do this, what happens if I do this? You know, I'm gonna add all of them into the same key. So when I want to show what this if I want to iterate, let's look at how we can iterate. I'll change the key so that at least we have an example which shows that will show multiple key values. Here it is. Okay, cool. So that's for this key. I'm storing, so basically the key is the string, right? And then the value is the user object. So I put all these users key value. The key is a string, the value is a user. Okay. So now, for example, what I can do is I can loop over the key set. So for example, I could say, for example, I could get the key set, user map dot get or key set. So that returns the set of keys. Okay. So I could do that, and I could say for each, I could do a for each over these, right? Because it's a set for each, right? String key, right? In the key set, right? Right. So that's, I could do something like this, and then I could just say s out. I could get you the user. So let's say user equals the user map dot key set. So sorry, user map dot get. Sorry, dot get something with the key. Give me the key. Here's the key. It will give you back a user. So let's see, user map dot get. You specify a key, it gives you back a user. Okay, Very nice. And I can just say s out user, right? So then it's going to print out the users. Here it is. Here it is. And you could see this, right? The toString doesn't print the ID because we just added the ID. So I'll go here and say Control N toString. I'll just pick everything, and here it is. Okay, so now I run it now. It's going to show the ID. Here it is. Now, if you want to see what the key is, so what I could do is I could do s out like this, and I could say key. Okay, and I'll just add this, something like that. So I'm going to print the key, and then I'm going to print the user, right? So go to that. Okay. At this key, there is this user. At this key, there is this user. At this key, there is this user. Okay, very nice. So I hope you understand what this is. It's just the key and the value. It's a dictionary. It's called a dictionary or a map, right? So now what if I add another user to the same key? So let's say I do this. So I put already somebody in that key points to a specific value. And now I'm reusing that key again and adding another user. So now when I run it, you will see that it will overwrite it. So you see here, it did overwrite it. So basically 1111 doesn't have Bob anymore. It has Eve, which is the last one. See? So basically, you could see that the map has a key and a value, and the key is unique, and the value is whatever that key is pointing to. Okay. So now another thing that you need to pay attention to is also user map. You also can ask it, does it contain a specific key, right? And you can also contain a specific value. You can also get, for example, see contains a key, and both of them return booleans, right? You can also get the values. You can get the list of values. You can iterate over the key by just the collection of values. So you could do it this way also. You could say, but in this case you don't get the keys. So for each user as user in user key map dot values, right? So that will get you the users directly, but you lose the key information, right? So when you do this, and you can print the user, so you can iterate over it this way also, right? So the very important method is also contains key. So basically, when you do user map dot contains key, that's very important, because now you can use it to find out if that key exists. If it doesn't exist, maybe you put it. Otherwise, you can specify what to do. Otherwise, and so on. So basically, that's a map, and map is very useful. You know, there are a lot of use cases where you could use a map to enhance your code. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.